What is up guys, Rick is here with a new video, and today we have another Flame Shrine video. And yes, some of you might have seen my Flame Shrine, my last record already on Barry's channel, but I wanted to make a video on my own, and it didn't really feel like showing the same thing that Barry already showed, so I just broke the record again. Because in the last one actually we had a little mistake in there. Some of you spotted it. I saw it in the comments under Barry's video. I actually had the wrong Rogan in my team. My Rogan was V0, and this was because I had two Rogans, and one of them was V4 and one of them V0, and I used a preset to attack, and this preset still included the V0 Rogan. So just by putting that in, we already had a small improvement, or major improvement really. And then I improved the tenants for my Ithaca, built a dark flag, so I had a second dark flag to get even more stats on that Ithaca, and we could actually improve it to 4.8 million. And yeah, beat my record basically. This is what you are seeing right now in the background. Again, against the Malassa boss, I would have actually preferred the Sigmund boss. The Sigmund boss has the advantage that we get faction rule buffs against him, which is 30% damage, I believe, and 50% precision, or the other way around. You can check it by clicking the button in the left top side of the screen in any fight. And this wasn't the case. We have the Malassa boss, so it is alright. Malassa is not a very bad boss. The only thing that you have to be aware of here is that she has two things that she does with her attack. The one thing is she gives you a poison dot that isn't too dangerous if you are an endgame player, and she slows your heroes. Every attack gives you an attribute reduction, and you likely want to do something against this attribute reduction. So we use attribute purify on most heroes, but not on the Ithaca. The Ithaca actually just uses the red attack buff, so that the Ithaca actually gets a bit more attack. It's not that important if Ithaca gets slower. You just want the SQH basically to attack before Ithaca does, and that's about it. That's about what you want. In a perfect world you would be able to get the Heart Watcher quicker than the Ithaca, but that is likely not possible. For now, let's have a look at the setup that we have, or let's first look at the numbers. Number screen, you can see it's 244 trillion actually, with 85 trillion from the Ithaca and decent replication from the Dilasium, about optimal, pretty close to it, and yeah, nice fight. So let's look at the build now. So that's actually the build I used for the fight. We use one V4 Rogan with pretty offensive setup, attribute reduction purify as I said before, and a Splendid Demon Bell of course for the energy feed. Splendid Demon Bell is the artifact of choice basically for Flame Shrine for every hero other than the Ithaca. We have a pretty fast Drake. Wasn't really worth it to go for any offensive thing here, so I still have defensive lineup here. Basically you can say most of the other heroes in the team don't matter. Like this Rogan, of course I can run him offensively and for better damage, yeah, we can do that, but that's like another 10 million damage on a fight that has 244 trillion, so basically nothing, and you won't even see it in the final number. But then again, a Drake, of course, we have a decent Heart Watcher with C- tier, is alright. Sadly, no imprints possible on her. We don't have a stone, so she's a bit low HP. 31 million, and like, I think 10 or 11 million of this is just because of the skin and my skin hunt buff. It's a little bit ridiculous. Then we have the Hellora. Hellora actually very important for this fight. If you didn't know, her active skill actually makes it possible for you to inflict more crit damage on the enemy. We use this and have the full sublimation on her as well. She's an A tier, so quite nice as well. At this point also Queen's Guard for an additional 20% damage, and you could actually buff that with Tree of Origin mats even further, but I currently don't have the mats for that. In the future this may be possible. And then we have a V4 Dilasium. we have the V for Dilation basically for the extension of the attributes. We want to extend the damage over time effect from Ithaca. And we can do that with a 70% chance at V4 by 2 rounds. And then we have the passive, well, that's the basic attack. You don't want this one, those are the stats. This one it is. The replication. Basically, this makes it possible for us to inflict the dot to one hero, because Ithaca always attacks the same hero, and still replicate this damage over time effect to other enemies, the other bosses in the fight. And the big thing is basically to hit the right dot every time and to replicate the Ithaca dot to the other enemies reliably. And of course, another big thing that changes damage is the crit rate of the Ithaca. So let's have a look at the main hero here. We have our Ithaca, 4.87 million, a little bit more than I even remembered. So a pretty decent attack, 25 million. Strength here, nearly 26 million. Also pretty decent. We have the A- tier actually. 5,200 attack is pretty good for an A-. You would actually look for more, but given that it's the only copy with A- or higher on the market, we have to live with it. One thing I would like to improve are those two stats. We have crit damage reduction and reduces dot received. Crit chance, crit damage or something like that would be much better and a big improvement for this hero, because as it stands right now our crit chance is like 60%. Then of course we get the buff from the Rogan with the crit chance, so actually pretty decent. But some crit damage, we could definitely use some crit damage. We are at 90% here, 150 would be possible, so decent crit damage buff on this Ithaca would actually be very good. Then let's have a look here. The reason, by the way, a lot of people miss that, a lot of people don't understand why Ithaca actually deals the strongest dot in the game. We have 800% of attack damage, which is quite decent. Some extra damage based on the enemy's HP. But what really makes the difference is this one, this passive skill. When Ithaca releases skills or normal attacks, skills meaning active skills and normal attacks, basic attacks, poison the target, dealing damage by 60% of damage dealt for 2 rounds. When she crits, bleed the target, dealing damage by 60% of damage dealt for 2 rounds. Ithaca is the only hero in the game that inflicts a damage over time effect based on the damage you deal. All other heroes, we can have a look at Helora, for example, and her damage over time effect. Bleeds them dealing extra 180% of attack damage. Attack damage is one thing that is possible. The other thing would be a HP-based dot like Valkyr does it, for example. But Ithaca is the only hero that does it based on the damage, and this gives you a lot of possibilities to buff it. You can use the Endless Cane to get all damage dealt every turn. You can use holy damage buffs. You can get basically all the buffs you can get from your star spawns. You can get, as I said, holy damage. You can use crit to inflict higher damage. And all this will translate in a giant damage over time effect that is multiplied by the Dilation that is replicated to the other heroes and will end up dealing quite a lot of damage. So this basically is it. The gear, I don't have the shoes equipped. We can compare this, or I have a lot of shoes. Just look at here. The 6-star shoes don't give you speed, but give you all the other nice stuff, while those shoes give you HP and speed. And what we actually don't really want speed on the Ithaca. Ithaca is fast enough, and we definitely want the Helora to go first to inflict her Abyssal Corruption so that we can deal more crit damage. Now, towards the end of the video, we actually broke another record. There's another record that I broke. Let's just hop in here into the guild and we check out the guild altar. I actually broke the record for the highest overall damage in Flame Shrine. By quite a lot. I think the last one was 500 trillion or something I've seen. And yeah, now we did this, which is quite a long number. I mean, even if you compare it, that's like absolutely ridiculous. Shatter the guild total damage, of course. And by the way, I think they should make some incentive to perform well in Flameshine as a guild, because like, look at this. That's like 100 times completed or something like that, and we get the same loot as everybody else, which is like the max loot. I will get 7,500 guild coins. I would think it's like cool if there was at least some gold or something you can get per certain amount of extra damage that the members deal here, so that there's some kind of an incentive to go ahead and do a little bit of better in Flame Shrine, because it's still a game mode I like. Some basic boss fights pretty cool. Which of course also means that I like Star Expedition, because it's also a nice boss fight. Yeah, and with that, guys, I want to leave you and end the video. We will see each other in the next one, and with that, guys, I wish you a great week. Bye.